the Dutch Beaumont Vitali 1871/88 rifle. This was the first purpose-built cartridge rifle used by the Netherlands. All of these rifles started out as model 1871, and a majority of them were converted in 1888 to use the Italian Vitali magazine. The rifles were manufactured by P. Stevens of Maastricht in the Netherlands. Now, before we go any further, I want to stop and show everyone how to properly take the bolt out, because if you don't, you do end up damaging the gun. So we're going to kind of go over that first because I found a lot of these rifles have been mishandled and taken apart wrong. So now we're going to go over and remove the bolt. Alright, what we're going to do, this weapon has been checked, it's unloaded. To remove the bolt, and I found that there's damage to a lot of these guns from improper, I guess, removal of the bolt or not doing it right. There's a screw here. You take this screw out, okay, and the bolt comes out into two pieces. The bolt body and the head. And you rotate the bolt back, remove it from the gun, like that. And the bolt head stays in the receiver here. Then when you remove it, you'll notice where the problem is there's this ejector which is attached to the bolt in a dovetail, and then there's a little, when you remove it, there's a little pin that kind of guides this piece in that slot right there. What happens is people force this gun apart, and I'll show you on this bolt where the pin gets sheared off. They actually damage it and shear off the pin. And also this piece here is missing. What this piece does is it rides in a groove inside the receiver here, like this. And the bolt cannot be removed without the bolt head coming loose first. So that's something I found on a lot of these rifles, is damage and done by that. And you can see it there. Okay, now that we got it apart, we'll take a closer look at the bolt and then go back to reviewing the rifle. An interesting thing about this gun, kind of unique about it, is I have another bolt disassembled here. And this goes through here. In this handle, the mainspring is this flat type spring, which kind of goes down in through here into the bolt and engages the firing pin like this inside the bolt handle. The spring is compressed, and that's what drives, when you trip the sear, this spring is what drives the firing pin. Now there's only two rifles that use this type of spring system. Is this rifle and the Japanese Matura rifle, which is a single shot black powder gun. So that's one interesting factoid about this here that I thought, while we had all the stuff disassembled, we'll take a look at. Now also here, as you see this piece, this ejector piece that goes on the bolt, I have 3 rifles where they're missing, and I've been trying to fabricate some of the parts there, which I'm close, but the only thing that I have to do to finish this part is I have to get the little cutouts here on the face done. So I'm going to have to fabricate the parts, because it's one thing about these old guns, screws, anything. If you got parts missing, it's almost impossible to find nowadays. You'd be very lucky. Okay, now we got this out of the way, I'm going to head back to a general overview of the rifle. Okay, back to the overview of the rifle. All of these rifles started off as a model 1871, which was a single shot bolt action rifle. The reason I kind of went and told you about the bolt first is, like I said, I found a lot of them damaged. The Dutch kept this gun in service, and it was an 11 by 52 rim caliber. They kind of modified the cartridge a little, and they changed the cartridge slightly, still kept it as a single shot. Then when the French developed smokeless powder, I think it was in 1887, that changed the whole ball game. And the Dutch didn't really know what to do, so I guess out of just short order, that is when most of these rifles were converted with the Vitali magazine system, which is this here. There are two firearms that use this Vitali system. This Dutch gun and the Italian single-shot bolt-action rifle was modified with this magazine system. They're the two most commonly noticeable or known guns. Most of these guns were a single-shot black powder cartridge bolt-action gun. All of them, the French, the Germans, everyone had a similar gun. That was the Dutch government's way of trying to improve their military firearms, was this magazine system. Now when you open the bolt up, this one here, we'll just take it out. This one here has some parts missing in it, but it's a nicer example. As you see, 4 rounds went in there and was bolt fed. Now, there was, on the original 1871s, a safety switch which went back here, and this is the only example. Most of my other ones are ground, where this little pin or hole is plugged up is where a safety lever was. That was removed. On the left hand side is this here, and what this is a magazine cutoff. If we look down in there, you can see where that part moves, and what that would do is, if you had a case in there, when you put that in there, it doesn't allow it, it snaps over the case, it holds the cartridges down. So you have a single shot gun with a magazine cutoff, then when you pull this back, the case will be allowed to come out or fed through. Looks like that spring is a little weak in there. Now the guns were also modified by drilling these 2 holes in the receiver to allow gas to escape if a cartridge ruptured. Because at the time, the way ammunition, the quality of ammunition, it was a common thing. So this was also a modification of the 88, is having these 2 holes drilled in there. And I believe when they changed the ammunition, they changed the grading on the sights, the distances in it. Also, you'll find a lot of these rifles, when they, like I said, when it was a single shot, they had to open up the stock for this magazine. And a lot of these guns, this is a weak point right on both sides of the bridge, and you'll find a lot of them that are cracked. Now I have one over here. This one you see is kind of split, and down here cracking on there, and the other one was pretty much broke right through, and I tried gluing it. I did a bad job of that. I'll use something else, but this thing was cracked all the way down on this here. But the glue can show you the extent of the damage. So that's not uncommon with these rifles to find them with the stock damage that way. Anything else in it? It took a socket style bayonet. I don't have a bayonet, but that's what he used, a socket style bayonet. The magazine cutoff. And okay, another thing here, they have steel butt plates, and I believe they have a date on the back of the butt plates. At least that one's got a date and a number. And let me see if this one does. Yep. I can't remember what the significance of it is. I don't believe you see something. It could be the date of issue, because this is 1889, but yet the barrel says 1878. So I forgot what the significance of that was. And also, most of them had this stamp here in the stock. I believe that was an acceptance. It's got a royal crown on it. That's dated 1876. I think. Yep, 1876. This one's 1873. So, it's another feature on there. Now the rifles all had long barrels, like these two here. That was the standard issue, like I said. After they were modified to repeaters, there were some that were not modified and are still in the single shot versions. I rarely see them. They're kind of hard to find. And then you will also find supposedly a carbine version. This is not an issue gun. What happened is, as they were sold as surplus, a lot of these rifles were cut down to make a much handier, lighter weapon. And as you can see with this, whoever did it didn't do a good job, just sawed it off and tried filing it. So this will have to be refaced and recrowned. So that's another video and another project. As for the ammunition, dies can be made, and you have a couple options on making ammo. I've made an attempt at it here using 5090 brass, but I will make separate videos on making ammunition and how to go about that. So far, I think I've covered everything on this gun. We can take a look at the sights if you like. Basically pretty simple sight. Graduations go up, you know. There's a slider on there. Lock it. And you have two barrel bands, and the other guns don't have a cleaning rod. There's a cleaning rod in this one. I don't know if it's original or not. The one I seen on the 1871s looks different. So you have that there. Generally, this gun, the caliber will shoot the same diameter bullet that'll fit in a 45-70. So basically what you got, and the cartridge has the power that's similar, is a bolt-action 45-70 rifle. If you want to request, in the future I can do a disassembly video where I can disassemble one of these guns. I already kind of went over the bolt, but I can go over it in detail. Just ask and I'll try to get around to it. And I will do videos on reloading the ammunition and shooting them. I've had a couple of videos where I've shot some ammo I experimented with and some that I bought. But that's my overview on the Dutch 1871/88 rifle.